My name is Chris, and for the XDC Hackathon, I put together an app called Accord. Now, some of you might be familiar with the app called DocuSign, which is an app for collecting e-signature on any sort of document you could ever imagine. Now, the downside to this is that the pricing plans are somewhat rigid, and you're paying each month regardless of how much usage you actually put through the app. And it's a centralized product, so you sort of entrust DocuSign to maintain the validity and truth of all the records and e-signatures that are recorded. So I wanted to use the XDC network and take advantage of some of the low costs and fast transaction times to create a platform that solved for this, using blockchain as the source of truth rather than a centralized database. Now, the way this works is you connect your MetaMask wallet. You'll notice here that I am already connected to the XDC testnet, but this also supports the mainnet. Once connected, you can create your first e-signature request, and I have some pre-filled data here, but you can more or less provide just about anything you want to have e-signatures collected on. And I have an example agreement here that I want to collect a signature from. And instead of doing an email address or a username and password for the person I'm trying to collect the signature for, I provide an address for that individual. And so I'll show you how this works in a second. I go ahead and deploy a contract to the XDC network that represents the request. And what happens behind the scenes is an IPFS record with the document, as well as some of the metadata for the request, is also being created at the same time. Let's just give this a few moments. Once done, there's a few URLs that are created. The metadata URL, the contract, and perhaps most importantly, the e-signature URL. The IPFS record is exactly what you think it is. It's just the storage for the documents and the metadata associated with the core transaction. And note this is immutable, so somebody can't change this after it's been uploaded. The second is the contract on the XDC network, which represents the particular request. And lastly, the signature collection URL, which would be shared with the signer. If the user is not authorized and I try to open that same URL, I won't be able to access the data, and instead I'll be presented with this error message. If I am the intended signer, I can open up this page, see the documents to acknowledge. In this case, it's just like a lease agreement. If that looks good, I can sign it and enter in any sort of signature. And now what this does is a second transaction against that XDC contract. I authorize it, and once that's completed, there will be both a record and a timestamp of my signature being applied, and an NFT will get minted with the signature that I provided when I completed the check. And you can see the signature here that I provided during the signing flow as well. As for the code, it's available on my GitHub. I encourage you to check it out, but that's pretty much the Accord project, and thanks for your time.